Today, I'm going to take you through what I believe is one of the most underutilized tools within your strength training program for combat sports, and they are cluster sets. Now, cluster sets are a form of rest redistribution. Typically, you'll have interset or intraset rest. So you'll rest either after every single rep, or you'll rest after 2-3 reps at a time within the set. A very quick example of that, I'll give you some more examples later in the video, but 2 plus 2 plus 2, and you take 30 seconds rest between each set of 2. So why are cluster sets so effective for combat sport athletes? Well, the first one is the ability to maintain rep quality throughout your sets. Now, a good example is this study here. They used 4 sets of 5 at 85% 1RM and contrasted that or compared that with 4 sets of 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And after each rep, they had 30 seconds rest. Now, what they found was the group that did the cluster set were able to maintain a higher average velocity throughout the entire set. Now, the idea is that if you're able to maintain higher velocities throughout your sets, you're able to potentially increase speed or power to a greater degree than you would if you were using traditional sets. Another potential benefit is this idea of being able to perform greater effective volume. Now, this study here, they took 2 groups. One group did as many reps as possible of a back squat at optimal power load until a 90% drop off in average power. The other group did sets of 2 with 20 seconds rest with the same parameter until 90% of average power was performed on those last reps. And what they found was doing the cluster sets, they were able to perform 1.6 times more reps above 90% of average power. Again, maintaining rep quality with the idea of being able to potentially enhance power and velocity and strength to a greater extent than the traditional set group. Now, within the research, it doesn't seem to work like that. It seems that traditional sets are typically better for strength and size development versus cluster sets, but I'll get into that a little later. The benefit I believe is most applicable to combat sports is the idea of reducing fatigue. Now, if you've done any of the Sweet Science of Fighting training programs, they're all within the Sweet Science of Fighting underground in the description, you'll see that cluster sets are a main theme throughout those programs. They allow you to do heavy work or fast work, but also reduce the fatigue for your technical training sessions. So that's why I like them so much. So that is one reason why I'm a big fan of cluster sets for combat sports, even if they don't show greater benefits in terms of strength compared to traditional training sets. Now, they do show benefits in enhancing speed and power, especially when using ballistic style exercises. So one of my rules around cluster sets, even though clusters may not improve strength as well, but it will reduce the fatigue, they work very well for ballistic style exercises. So we're talking things like jumps, Olympic lifts, throws, essentially power exercises like that, where you have to leave the ground or something is being projected. Now, this study, what they did is they did 6 sets of 6 jumps at 20% 1RM. The other group did 6 sets of 2 plus 2 plus 2 and rested 20 seconds between each set of 2. What they found was after 3 weeks, this cluster group improved peak power by 10% and peak velocity by 8%, whereas the traditional set group only improved by 2 and 3%. Now, cluster sets aren't just benefits. There are things to consider that may make it not worth your time. The first one is that it takes more time to do cluster sets. Essentially, you're taking a normal set rep scheme and you're adding more rest between reps. And this is going to add up to more time spent doing the exercise and more time spent in the gym. So you need to take that into consideration when designing your program. You might need to do less exercises to make up for that or allow for more time for your workout to be completed. The other one is it's not as effective for strength development as traditional sets. I've already mentioned that in this video, but that's not the reason that I like to use it for strength. The reason I like to use it for strength is to reduce fatigue. And we want to be able to reduce fatigue so we can give more to our technical training. So let's dive into some practical examples that you can use. Now, the thing with cluster sets for them to be very effective is you need to push the envelope in terms of how close you are to essentially the rep range for that percentage. So what I mean is 3 sets of 2 plus 2 plus 2, this would normally be 3 sets of 6. And typically you might do 3 sets of 6 anywhere between 70 to 80% 1RM. But because we have these breaks between the reps, we can go as high as 85% 1RM, which would typically be a 5 rep max, but we're going to do it for 6 reps. And that's where cluster sets become very potent. Now, you don't always want to do that. I've done this. It is brutal, and that will pretty much fuck you up pretty good. So you want to work your way to these and cycle it in. You don't want to be doing this every single week. This might be something you work to as a final week for if strength development is your priority. So an example here would be 3 times 2 plus 2 plus 2, and between each 2 reps, you would take 30 seconds rest. And when you take the rest, you would rack the bar. So if you're doing squats, you would do 2 reps and then rack the bar, take it out again, 2 reps, rack the bar, etc. In terms of your rest times, you're looking anywhere from 10 seconds to 30, 40 plus seconds. Now, when you're getting past like 45 seconds, you're looking at doing kind of separate sets. So you don't want to make the rest too long. Typically, the more reps you're doing within a cluster, the more rest you want to take. But typically 20 to 30 seconds seems to be that sweet spot regardless of the exercise. So another option is a pyramid option. Now, the idea of the pyramid is that you come back down at the end. It's almost like a potentiation cluster where the heavier work here potentiates this work down the bottom. And this is done as percentage of 1RM. So this will be best suited for Olympic style lifts, typically the power variations or the high pull variations. I've got some videos on those on the channel. But essentially you would do 1 rep, 85% 1RM, maybe power snatch or snatch high pull. Then you would rest 20 to 30 seconds. Then you'll do 90%, same thing, 95. Then you'll come back down. And these weights at the end would feel easier. And that's the idea behind this pyramid protocol. You could do this with jumps, but you wouldn't be doing it with such heavy loads. Now, another one to take is the ascending structure, and this is more geared towards strength development, and this is 3 different sets. So you would do 3 sets. The first one, you would ascend the set rep scheme as you're going. So you do 80% for the first rep, 83% 1RM for the second rep, and then 86% on the third rep. So that would be your 3 singles. You could even go 3 doubles within that. Next set, you're going to start at 82%, you work away at 89%, and then you're going to start the last set at 86% and finish on 92%. You can also do this with ballistic style exercises like the Olympic lifts. Now, all of these, or some of these I took from Greg Huff's review on cluster sets, and I've interviewed Greg Huff on the podcast if you want to go check that out as well, where we talk about cluster sets and many other concepts. So when should you use cluster sets within your training? I think they're best suited for when you have congested training schedules, especially when you're doing a lot of technical training. So it could be fight camp leading into a fight. These would serve you well because, again, you're going to use them to reduce the fatigue from your training so you can focus more on the technical aspect. It's also good when you're trying to emphasize speed and power within your training because you get that rest within the set. You can maximize the quality of each rep throughout. Now, the high volume power training video I did is a form of cluster training. Obviously, it's more taxing, but it allows you to maintain a high rep quality even for high reps. If you are in a strength development phase, for whatever reason that is, maybe your technical training is taking a slight step back, or you're just taking a break from fighting, then I probably wouldn't use cluster sets as often for the strength training exercises. You can still use them for the ballistic style exercises maybe before that, but the strength training exercises you probably want to do as normal traditional straight sets to maximize strength development if that is your goal. So if you enjoyed this video, down in the description, there's a link to the Sweet Science of Fighting Underground, plus all the training programs. You can join there. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share it around to help the channel grow and have more people watch these videos.